All right, let's turn our focus to this now. Organizations fighting child abuse and gender-based violence are calling for a shift in terminology, urging the use of a child sexual abuse material instead of child pornography. Spearheaded by Women and Men Against Child Abuse with support from groups like Action Society, they argue that the term pornography wrongly implies consent from the child. Now, this campaign seeks to raise awareness and drive change in how we address this critical issue. To speak more on this, let's now welcome Megan Briede. She's the Director of Programs at Save the Children South Africa. Megan, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, this is a critical topic. How important do you think will the shift in terminology and language even, talk to us about the importance of referring these cases as child sexual abuse material, given just how many organizations view the term child pornography as minimizing the harm experienced by children?
Absolutely. I think the term pornography and putting child pornography there implies that this material is simply is similar to legal adult pornography, which we know it's not. The content is actually evidence of a crime. So we definitely don't want that association. Child pornography as it is, it's not a subcategory of pornography. It is a form of child abuse, and therefore we strongly support the shift to using terminology such as child sexual abuse material. This language is much more accurate. It reflects the criminal, exploitative, and abusive nature of this material.
Despite the growing calls and advocacy for this term, CSAM, as it's pronounced, or child sexual abuse material be used, the courts and the legal systems continue to use the term child pornography. I mean, what steps then do you think should be taken here to address this? Because as a result, the media, we also are referencing it as, child pornography in these cases, referencing, of course, the most prominent court case that we are following now, in Johannesburg even.
I think the challenge comes in that it needs change over time. So it needs us to be very conscious. So for the media and ourselves, even within the sector, protecting children, to make that shift ourselves and never come on TV, for example, and speak about child pornography, but actually use the term child sexual abuse materials. And there will also be needs in changes in our policies and our legislation and how we write it.
How best, as we look at, the change in terminology and so forth, can we, further protect children from being victimized or portrayed in such a manner?
I think the first step always is to reinforce for the public that this is a crime and a very, very serious crime, and to ensure that we have the legal protections for children who are exposed to this. Very importantly, when it comes to child sexual abuse materials, we need to be working with our police, with other international organizations to track and identify these rings that are producing this material. Most importantly, we need to send the message that as South Africans, we will not accept the exploitation and abuse of our children.
Another concern, of course, as we understand it, is the term also diminishes the seriousness of the crime insofar, when police do make their arrests, cases around online harm and abuse, police don't always recognize the risk posed by perpetrators who have possessed or shared online child sexual abuse materials. And it may not be immediately clear whether contact sexual abuse may also have been taking place. Is this how you also see it?
I think the challenge comes is that people think just because you didn't participate in the actual physical assault of a child, where that was videoed and then distributed, that's not a serious crime. But you are the people they are producing it for. So the person who possesses it is equally to blame as the person who produces it. If there were people not watching this content, that child would never have been abused. And that's what we need to escalate in people's minds. You are just as guilty as the physical perpetrator of that abuse.
And Megan, has there been, other countries, I would imagine that, our organizations here are also taking cue in terms of the international standard, but has there been other countries or even jurisdictions that have successfully transitioned in this terminology?
Absolutely. And I think just across the world, there's a movement for the shift. Organizations such as UNICEF, ECPAT International, the term pornography is no longer the focus term. So definitely, it's not a difficult shift to make. I think it's something we should just be conscious of, and in our own talkings, continue to remind ourselves to use the right terminology.